There are many great characters within the world of Sly Cooper, be it good or bad. Then you have the in-between. And that in-between is Miss Carmelita Montoya Fox. And we're going to talk about her today. So Carmelita, in my opinion, is the fourth member of the Cooper gang, but she's technically not officialized until the fourth game, which is kind of sad because Carmelita has a lot of potential to be the fourth member before the fourth game, but more on that later. So Carmelita's story in the first game really isn't expanded on, and that is with a lot of the characters because the first game is more of a build-up of the world rather than an introduction and a full look into the characters. We don't really expand on Murray nor Bentley until like the later games. The only one who's ever expanded on is Sly, and it's honestly surface level, which not bad. As I said in my Sly video, this is a starter game, so everything's just basically surface level in the first Sly game. Carmelita is your typical cop to the robber. Her job is to try to catch Sly and to put him in jail. That's it. There's nothing really much to her besides the last few minutes of the game. In the last few minutes of the game, she kind of has a change of heart for Sly because Sly risked his life to save her. This helps her realize that maybe not all criminals are evil, and this causes her to have a change of heart and to help him defeat Clockwork. But besides that and a kiss, there's not really much happening in the first game when it comes to Carmelita. Like, she's there, but there's not really much to her. We don't really get to know her as a character in this game. However, in the second game, that all changes. So in the second game is where character storylines are finally expanded on and looked into. And this goes for Carmelita, which in my personal opinion sucks because I don't think they do a good job with her in the second game. Wait, hold on. If you want a full explanation, I suggest looking at the Sly Cooper video, but here I'm just gonna keep it short. Carmelita now has a partner named Constable Neela, and this purple tiger is a double agent for the Claw Gang, who's the main bad guys of the second game, and she basically betrays Carmelita and sends her off to jail with the help of the Contessa, who is a higher ranking officer of Carmelita, who I am to assume that Carmelita at some point looked up to, because while she doesn't say anything about the Contessa, the fact that she did something for the Contessa as a favor shows favoritism towards this person or a good relationship.
Constable Neela, I allowed you to sit in on this stakeout as a favor to the Contessa. I really don't need any help.
Anyway, in my opinion, I believe that Sly Cooper 2 could have done something more with Carmelita because there's a plot line that's kind of swept underneath the rug when it comes to the Contessa and Carmelita. The Contessa openly admits that she gets prisoners and she basically breaks their minds or brainwashes them into telling her where their gold and fortune is before making them do things they wouldn't do. And she was going to do the same thing to Carmelita and have her take the fall for all of her crimes, the Contessa's crimes.
Bentley, there's more than just the clockwork eyes up here.
Why are you doing this? Neela, she set me up. I'm an honest cop.
Of course you are. I've read your psychological profile. I know that you're honest.
Then why are you doing this to me?
Because, dear, you're honest. You see, by chasing after Sly Cooper, you learned too much about the Claw Gang and its spice operation. It was only a matter of time before you figured out that I was a secret member. So, when Neela gave me a chance to put you in custody, I took it.
Coward. You're a disgrace to Interpol. I'll make it my life's work to destroy you.
Oh, I'm afraid your life, let alone your life's work, isn't going to last much longer. Once I integrate the clockwork eyes into this device, your life's work will be whatever I tell you.
I won't be brainwashed that easily.
Quite right. It won't be easy or painless. But I will reprogram your mind and you will take the fall for me at Interpol. Now, just lay back and relax. Go to your happy place and stay there forever.
And I would have loved if the game kind of expanded a little bit on this, maybe make it a little bit darker in the sense that was the Contessa making Carmelita arrest certain people to be tortured, as well as maybe ask the question of, oh my gosh, there is corruption within the police force. What are we gonna do? Because we later find out that Constable Neela is also part of the Claw Gang. So I would have liked if the game had actually had Carmelita kind of question, if she still wanted to be a police officer, or what would she do if she does become a police officer? Because there is corruption within the system. How do we know Contessa and Neela are the only two bad guys within the police force? And this is something I would have liked for the game to expand on when it came to our Foxy Fox. I would have liked for Carmelita to join the Cooper gang in the second game so that she could learn more about this corruption hiding behind the walls. I would have loved for her to take the Contessa down in revenge. I would actually have liked there to be a side story of morality where Carmelita is faced with the horrifying truth that she might have been doing something awful under the disguise that she was working under the law. And that would be a great pivot from being an officer to being a full-on criminal. Now, I know Carmelita comes from a long line of police officers. We find this out in the booklet in one of the game discs. Oh no, disc. Sony, why? Why, Sony? Why? No, seriously, that does make me sad. Like, don't get rid of disc, please. I want to keep my disc. I love the maps and stuff. I love the little art books and the mini guides in the disc holder. Please don't take away DVDs. We need them. Like, no, that doesn't make it fun. And also, I want to physically own my games. Like, I do have some digital games, but all those digital games are online games. All the games that I pay for that are story plot line, they must be physically in my hand. I need a physical copy in my hand. I don't like that digital stuff. I don't. Sony, please change your mind. Where was I? Oh yeah. Carmelita would have been the perfect pipeline for this. Contessa would give her a target and she would go out and grab these people. In fact, I would have loved to find out that maybe the Contessa had assigned Carmelita to take out the Fiendish Five so that the Claw Gang can get the clockwork parts. That would have been a great twist or reveal. Like finding out that you were being manipulated the entire time and everything you were doing was just for the benefit of another criminal. That would have been awesome. But the game doesn't give that to us, which is sad. They just make her into a vigilante who hunts down Sly and his gang, which is weird because it's like, they didn't hurt you. I don't know if Carmelita ever figured out that the Contessa or Neela were part of the Claw Gang, but it feels like she was throwing her anger at the wrong group of people. Luckily for us, Carmelita gets her senses in the end and she flies over to help Sly and his friends defeat Neela as Claw. And here's what makes me laugh. Here's what makes me laugh. So Claw doesn't really die. She just gets stuck in a chip. I don't know what happens to Neela's body when she enters the bird, but it's just gone, right? However, her life is in a chip. And I love how Sly holds the chip in front of Carmelita saying, I don't know what to do. And Carmelita grabbed that piece of metal and stomped on it. She's like, I'm putting her down. That's what we're doing. That's what I love Carmelita. She's like, no, we're not having a sequel. You're right, this is the sequel. He needs to die. Sorry, she needs to die. Carmelita said no. Carmelita said bye-bye. I'm sorry, it's just funny because she didn't even hesitate. That's what's hilarious about it. And then she turns around and tries to arrest Sly. But Carmelita is more than just, straightforward arrow when it comes to being a cop. Carmelita, as I said before, is a caring person. So I do feel like she didn't really want to hurt the Cooper gang, which is why she let Bentley and Murray go. I know she could have just taken all three of them in, but think about it. She could have just taken them all in. They were all hurt and she could have had all three of them go to jail. But she looked over to both Murray and Bentley and realized that they were in such a bad condition. Would it really be worth it? Would it really be worth taking somebody down at their lowest after saving the world? And Carmelita realizes this and lets them go and just takes Sly. And I like that about her. She's not just this, I'm gonna arrest you, I don't care kind of person. She cares for people. And that's why I would have loved if they add more to her story. This moral battle between the law and being a vigilante. Perhaps she could have been with the Cooper gang and done more to help people outside of the law. And I think she would have been great because by the end of the day, I don't feel like Carmelita is a cop for power and such. I really do feel like she does want to help people.
I'll be seeing you soon, Ringtail.
Sadly to say, in Sly Cooper 3, we don't really get much of Carmelita past, again, surface level. Why? Because I feel like there's so many characters within the game, the writers just didn't have time to maybe make something for Carmelita, and that's kind of disappointing, because again, I would have loved more from her as a character. I would have loved for the series to expand on her, but they just put her back into the position of the first game. She's the cop chasing after the Cooper gang. Honestly though, I feel like the writers just forgot about Carmelita entirely, because there's literally a level where she just does not appear, which is the very first time that has happened.
For the first time in memory, Carmelita didn't show up and cart everyone to jail. Oh well, I'll send her a postcard. You know, I'd hate to have her feel left out.
She is always at the end of every level, arresting the main bosses of that level. But in the pirate level, she's gone. She's not even there. Sly has to send her a card telling her that he misses her. You know how offensive that is? Imagine you're just living your life, enjoying a break. Maybe you're at home drinking some coffee, and your biggest op sends you a postcard saying, "I miss you." Sly. But besides this, one of the issues I do have in the Sly Cooper 3 game is that Sly and Carmelita's story ends on a romantic note. You know, they're finally together. They've been in love for so long and they can finally be together. Here's the thing, there is no romance in Sly Cooper 3 personally. Like in the first 2 games, they flirt with one another and it's cute, but then in the 3rd game, there's really nothing there. Like Carmelita's dead on trying to get Sly. There is no hi cutie kind of energy going on between them. Well, no, I take that back. Near the end, she has that, but I kind of wish that we still had that energy throughout the entire game instead of near the end after she sees Sly get hurt. And honestly, that's it. There's nothing much to Carmelita. She was the prize and Sly was her prize. I explained this in my Chase video. Carmelita's existence is just to be Sly's shadow if you think about it. She is his mirror, his opposite, the yang to his yin, which at first I thought was funny, but then I thought more on that and I realized, yeah, they kind of do represent yin yang. Sly is yin, he's part of the darkness, he's soft, he's grounded, he's cool-headed. While Carmelita is yang, who's aggressive, bright colors, loud, stern. They both exist for each other in a sphere of an endless journey that is called a race. I made a video on it. But besides all that, there's really not much to say about Carmelita in the 3rd game, which is kind of disappointing, but I realized she really couldn't do much within Sly Cooper 3 because she really wasn't that important. The goal of Sly Cooper 3 was getting other people. She was already there, but honestly, she was nothing. She does hire a bunch of mercenaries though to help her in battle, which I will give props to the game, is interesting. I love the fact that she has an army because she is a baddie, but past that, there's really nothing. And this is where we get into Sly Cooper 4. Sly Cooper 4. I know collectively we have all gathered together and agreed that Sly Cooper 4 is not canon to the Sly Cooper series, and that whoever decided to make it was not a fan of the Sly Cooper series, because what in the fuck was this? I have many complaints on Sly Cooper 4, but my biggest complaint is how they did Carmelita. It feels like an insult. It feels like a slap to the face. What did you do to her waist? Where are her organs? What is this? What in the One Piece did you do to my girl? She is so annoying in Sly Cooper 4. I will openly admit this. She is so annoying. I can't stand Carmelita. She's not fun. I'm talking like story-wise. Playing as her, she's great. But story-wise, oh, she's not fun. There's barely any missions that focus on her. We barely learn what happened between her and Sly throughout the years that they were together. And more importantly, she's just not expanded on at all. Like maybe there's one mission where she has to go and save the gang, but that's about it. And she's just angry throughout the entirety of the game. And she's valid to be angry. However, there's just no resolution. And at the end, she's like admitting that she loves Sly. And I'm sitting here like, there is nothing Where did this come from? Like, there's literally no build up or anything. And it's so disappointing because one, and I'm gonna be honest with you, if Sly walked over to Carmelita and said, hey, there's a skunk jumping in time messing around with my bloodline, and I need to stop it, Carmelita would not get mad. She would drop everything and go with Sly into the past to save his bloodline. Like, she's done the last 3 games where she assisted in killing Clockwork twice. Like, I'm pretty sure she would drop everything and go with Sly. And here is where I get aggravated the most. Sly Cooper 4 would be a perfect game for her to be expanded on because she was away from the law. She was away from her time. Why couldn't Carmelita find enjoyment in being a thief? Or why couldn't she find enjoyment in other things? Why couldn't we have more missions with her? Why did I have to purchase her super jump? That's stupid. Why couldn't we have her have like special abilities like detective mode where she had to connect the dots of something to find someone? Why is it that they only kept her as, and I kid you not, eye candy?
Let me at him!
I swear to you, okay, how do I say this? In the last 3 games, she was romanticized. In the 4th game, she's sexualized. Because what is this? What is this? This is a detective, an international respected officer. What are we doing? Ugh, I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. Get away from me. Replaying this game series, I realized that more could have been done with Carmelita, but instead they just kept her on a surface level of the love interest. And while that's not a bad thing, after 4 games, you'd think they do more with her, but they really don't. As I said for the Sly Cooper 2 game, I would have loved if Carmelita had switched sides. Neela could have taken over and the corruption of the police would have continued, and I think that would have been a great plotline within the Sly Cooper series. Carmelita would be on Sly's side, and she would try everything in her power to help people fight off the corruption of the police, because I know Carmelita is a good-hearted person who only works for the law to help people and put bad people in jail. She's not a bad guy, unlike Neela and the Contessa, who use their power to hurt others. But I feel like because she's within the police force, she is limited to help people. One thing I noticed within the first Sly Cooper game, while she does appear at the end of every level, she doesn't appear in every level physically. Like, you're not being chased by her in every level because she's not there. Maybe because she can't get the property or something. She has limits to her power and therefore she can't do much. When she does break the law, she does do amazing things. One of the things she broke, she stole a helicopter from the police station to fight off Clock Law. She trespassed on Dr. M's property to save Sly twice. Carmelita does amazing when she's breaking the law in the game, and that's why I feel like she would have been the best 4th member of the Sly Cooper gang. Neela could have taken her place, and the two could have been butting heads throughout the entirety of the game series. We could have also done a better job at writing the romance between her and Sly, instead of getting sprinkles here and there. Why not them have missions together? Why not have them do fun stuff? Why not create a romantic connection between these two? Because if I'm gonna be honest, if Carmelita had broken off from the police in the 2nd game, I think she would have done well as part of the Cooper gang in the 3rd game. She would have easily been able to locate members with Bentley while also helping Sly figure out what he wants to do. I'm sure Carmelita would have gladly fake her death with Sly and just, go in hiding to start a new life. I could see that happening. But instead, they don't think. And I stand by those words because as much as I love the Sly Cooper series, and I love it dearly, as I said before, it's on the same tier of Jack, and you know I love Jack. When it comes to Carmelita, they could have done better. But with that being said, do I dislike Carmelita? No, I don't. I love Carmelita. She's great. In my personal opinion, she could even be a protagonist of the series, if anything. And I know that sounds weird, but hear me out. If they ever decide to make Sly Cooper 5, there would have to be somebody to take Sly's place within the group until he comes back. And the only other person that could do that would be Carmelita. But that's never gonna happen. And because of that, I'm glad, because we're never going to see that awful animation again. Again, what happened to her waist?